everyone. I hope you are all having an amazing Gen Con. We are recording this in advance of the best 4 days in gaming, and I'm excited about this one because this is just like a pure nostalgia IV drip, what we're about to do for the next 2 hours, because we're going to create characters once again for the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. But this time around, we're not just creating any old superheroes. We'll be using the brand new X-Men expansion book to create mutants. Yes!
Yes!
Muties! We are our goal for today is to create our own unique team of mutants that also belong to the X-Men, using all the new powers and new rules, traits, origins that are in this sick new book that came out. I think it's available now. I'm not even sure. I have a friend at Marvel, so they sent it to me. But we're going to be using that today. And this book, if you've we've had a chance now to look at it for about a week. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's like part history lesson on the history of the X-Men, which for me, as someone who's like dying to get back into comics, but always overwhelmed by the options out there. Like, I need a jumping in point like this where I can just read 100 pages and be like, okay, great. I'm caught up in the last 75 years of the X-Men. And of course, it's filled with the outstanding artwork that we've come to know from the Marvel Core Rulebook as well. Level of excitement here, 1 to 10. Are we all 10s?
We're in double digits.
I mean, there's nothing better than mutants. There's nothing better than mutants.
My mutant power is that my excitement goes to 11.
Ooh, whoa, cool power,
Lucky
Matthew.
you. Lucky you.
Always just slightly more excited.
Why don't just make it go to 10 and have 10 be the most excited?
My mutant power lets me go to 11.
Because 11 is one higher than 10.
It's one more.
It's one more than 10.
I can't remember the last time that we created, obviously this is a different group from the last time we did this creating characters, but I went around the horn and I asked everybody who their favorite superhero is. I kind of want to play that game again, but be more specific. Do you have a favorite X-Men? I mean, I'm sure everybody's got a favorite or a current favorite. For me, it's nothing too sexy. I was always an Iceman guy.
Iceman guy.
Iceman.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. When maybe
That's cool.
I think it makes sense because you're so cold inside.
How dare you?
That's right. It replicates the cold of your heart.
I was like, Rob's known you the
Frozen
longest,
heart.
so.
Yeah, I would do this all the time as a kid, just like I'm throwing ice. I'm walking on ice. When they had Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, and Iceman was one of the originals on that.
I know.
I was like,
that was like, he was cool. Bobby
He's
was
Omega level? He's an Omega level.
Yeah. Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is he Omega level?
He's Omega level.
Really?
Wow.
He gets there, yeah, because then he can start just doing anything with like any moisture in the air or something like that, right? He basically becomes like a god.
So there's 3 levels, right? And there's like basic, and then there's like people that like took a shot to become mutants, and then there's like your base level mutant, and then there's Omega, right?
It's alpha, beta, epsilon, omega.
Okay.
Okay.
But like there are fewer omegas than you think, given the way that Storm is Omega, Magneto's Omega.
Yeah.
But Iceman is one of them.
The Professor Xavier.
Professor Xavier.
So maybe
Quentin Quire, I think, is
He is
Omega.
a sexy pick. Well, I'm going with Iceman, so none of you can pick Iceman.
Yeah, I mean, Iceman is so great, not only from a character perspective, but like to play in a game like this. Because he is so versatile. Like he has the ability to be like a straight up damage dealer, but he's also like, could you get better support? You know what I mean? And he has something that I love when they do this with, it can be any kind of superhero, but a lot of times with mutants, they don't just have the ability to fly, but their ability essentially gives them the ability to fly. You know?
Yeah.
And I love that creative combo because there's other characters that have those same kind of things where like when they use their power a certain way, they essentially gain flight. They don't just have magical flight. And Iceman's one of those.
He's
always
also
love that.
similar, he fills a similar kind of niche, not to start a crossover flame war or anything, as some like the Green Lantern does.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like he can just creates like objects that he needs, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Gotta love
Yeah,
Iceman.
very versatile.
Matthew,
And yet very specific at the same time with the cold,
Yeah.
Matthew, I know you are probably our resident historian here on the X-Men. You've been way into it, and I'm going to let you go first, mostly because I don't think Joe knows who the X-Men are.
Gotta give him time to read the wiki.
Okay, so I mean, I will say I probably don't have as much knowledge as Skid or Rob, but I am currently
I think
very
you know more
into
than
it.
me.
I think you've already demonstrated pre-recording that you've got to.
Don't be so
pretty much-
humble.
Yeah, he's always going to downplay anything he knows when it's like clear that he knows more than everybody around him.
I don't know.
That's
I
his
mean, you're
thing.
definitely more current than I am for sure. Like,
Yeah.
you're
I've read a
absolutely
bunch of the
current.
last. I'm not caught up though because there's a lot of books, and I'm still catching up on a lot of things. But all right, so I am a Cyclops partisan. I think he got.
You love
I think
Cyclops.
He got a bad rap because of the cartoon in the '90s. I think they've done a lot to rectify that in X-Men '97. But I've always loved Cyclops, especially in the comics. That's an easy answer. Another easy answer is I always loved Kitty Pryde, maybe because I was also 12 and 13 when I first was reading the comics. I loved her power, and I love like powers that aren't demonstrably offensive being used in interesting and creative ways that always got me going. But I think my current favorite.
Do we all get 3?
Yes.
That's all the time we
I'll
have.
do this all day.
We'll take Iceman, Kitty Pryde, and
See you at San Diego Comic-Con, folks.
The
Matthew,
armor-
give us your top 11 X-Men.
Oh, God, how much time you got?
Narrow it down to 11.
I would say Armor is getting a great run in Ultimate X-Men right now. It's really, really cool.
Wow,
and really
Armor.
great. And like an
Deep cut.
underrated, unsung, character that's getting a great.
Armor. All right. So if any of you had any of those 9 choices, you have to pick somebody else.
Oh, great!
Skid, you've got quite a crew behind you there. Which team is that?
I do. This is from the first giant size X-Men. This is sort of the beginning of sort of the modern-ish era of X-Men. This is probably my favorite era is right here behind me. But as far as X-Men, mutants, I've always been a huge. I love Alpha Flight, and I particularly love New Mutants. And I think I've talked about this before, but if I had to narrow it down, I think my favorite, and he's not technically a mutant, I guess, but he is a new mutant, would be Warlock. I love Warlock. He's so cool, I think. And I think he also got kind of a bad rap, I feel like, or he has for a long time. And my dream has always been, I love Bill Sienkiewicz is my favorite, artist, my favorite comic artist. My dream has always been to get him not even to do it, but just to own a sketch of his of Warlock. The way he did Warlock was just so kinetic and so weird and wild. And that's what I went. And I talked to CB, so the editor in chief, last time we were at San Diego Comic-Con, and he was just like, "Let's make that happen," and he forgot. But we'll run him down tomorrow. We'll get that for you. And it's just like, okay. And he got very busy. He's a very busy man, obviously.
We also were drinking at the time,
and we were drinking. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
He also promised you a weekend at his house in the Cape.
That's right.
Joe, what about you?
I came to X-Men in the 90s, in the early 90s, the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont run of X-Men. And that to me is my favorite. It's just because it's my first, and I loved those comics. And so yeah, it's actually the only Marvel comics that I knew. We made fun of me on stage for not knowing anything about comics and superheroes in general, and that is true. But the one thing that I know a little bit about is the X-Men, because I did love it so much. My favorite, it's hard to choose, but if pressed to pick, I will say, I think I've said this before, that I love Rogue. I love Rogue.
Rogue's awesome.
It's she was my favorite, I think, if I had to boil it down. I liked all of them for all different reasons, but her power is so devastating and also so awesome, and also, like Matthew said, can be used in such creative ways that it's not just firing a laser beam, which I
love
like.
powers that are also a handicap as well.
I mean, the tragedy
Yes.
of Rogue was so great.
Yeah. And then when you're reading that as a teenager, it's so it's so dramatic. So yeah, I'll take Rogue.
Did I ever tell you about the time I asked out Anna Paquin?
Yes.
Oh.
No, I don't
How
think
did it
I've heard this
go?
story.
I'll tell
She
you
showed
guys
her
afterwards.
mutant power, which was to disappear immediately.
She was cold as ice.
What happened?
She said, "Sure, write your name, write your number on my arm." And I was like, "Okay." And she never called. It's like, what was
Probably
the
just
whole arm
took a
thing about? Maybe
shower.
she took a shower.
I forgot.
Right. She's to this day, like, whatever happened.
It's still written on her
Arm
arm.
guy.
She's like,
Yes.
toy?
Do you have the same number?
Toy?
Toy?
No, God, I've gone through so many cell phones since then. When you don't pay your bill, they don't let you use that number anymore.
Oh, yeah.
This was like 2001. 8 cell phone
Oh, so like
numbers ago.
in like
This is like prime
X2
Anna
time.
Paquin.
Yeah, she was going to Columbia while I was in grad school, and I knew that. And I was
Oh,
like, if I
right.
ever see her, I'm just going to go up and be like, hey, I'm an actor too. Let's get a drink. And so I did. I didn't say I'm an actor. I was like, hey, you don't know me. I don't know you. This was my thing. I was like, I don't give a poop. I don't give a poop. I'll go up to
that's why
anybody
she
and just
didn't
ask
call
him
you.
out. This was- I had that phase where it's like, what are they going to say? No? Okay. Somebody else. So I just was like, I saw her and it finally happened. I was like, I'm going up. I'm like, hey, you know me? She goes, yeah, write your name, number on my arm. And I did. I was like, wow,
You're so brave.
it's happening.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
That's just like, it's like that when Nick Lowe asked out Kerry Russell. It's the same thing.
Yes.
You know what might have been? She was afraid if we ever hit it off and we kissed, she'd kill me.
That's right.
And so she was in a way saving me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
She was just
exactly what
trying.
happened.
That's
Thank you, Anna
exactly it.
Paquin.
Yeah.
Wherever you
Whoever
are.
you are.
Sydney, you have a favorite?
Ever ask out of the X-Men?
No.
Did you ever ask anybody that played in the X-Men movies?
No, I would ask out James McAvoy though. He's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
If James McAvoy, if you're seeing this and you're at Comic-Con, write your number
He is.
on my arm,
Yeah.
please.
okay.
No, I actually Joe chose mine. I love
Get
Rogue.
out of here.
I love Rogue so much. I was
Wow.
pissed that you took mine, but I'm not going to change it
Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
I would be lying. But I think I like her because she has such a sad power, and it's such like a classic, mythological Midas touch sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I just think, I don't know, she's like beta level, I think, but she's so OP. Like she takes Magneto's powers. She takes flying from Captain Marvel, like she gets all these bits and pieces, and as she gets them, she becomes more powerful, but she like loses herself. Like her hair color changes, and for a woman, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, and beyond that, probably other mental stuff goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think as a teen too, I really liked her because I felt I related to her. I was just like, oh, so tortured, Rogue. It's so hard to be you. And I think also my like selfish side, I'm like, I could be Rogue. If I got cast, I feel like I could be a Rogue. So I really like
Yeah.
Rogue because I'm like, I could be that. She's a
Yeah.
cool character. I could be her.
You can be
I
a
like
rogue.
Mystique, but I'm like, I don't think I'm a Mystique. I think I'm more like a Rogue. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But
stick
that
with
would
her.
still be slightly worse than your Peter Parker Spider-Man.
He's my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would be the best cast Peter Parker Spider-Man ever.
I would pick him. I would pick Peter Parker Spider-Man, but it felt too on the nose.
He's also not a mutant.
Well, he's
But
not
they should
in
totally
right.
reboot the entire cinematic universe so that you can be the new Spider-Man.
Yes.
I
make
think you're
some-
right. It's
make some
time. They're
calls.
due. It's time.
It's time.
Rob, you're deep into this.
I mean, I come and go. It's phases like anything else. I'll fall deep into something and become obsessed with it, and then I'll not know what happened for 5 years. But mine's so basic. I'm just a real basic B. I was 10 years old in '89.
Be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're a 10-year-old in '89. You're walking through the comic shop, and so here's the thing: my favorite, I didn't even know was part of the X-Men for a long time, because I was walking through a comic shop and I saw this cover, which is Wolverine.
I knew it.
Yep. Wolverine fighting a bunch of vampires. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm getting it. This guy has knives coming out of his hands. There's vampires. I'm doing this. And I bought it. And I bought Wolverine comics for like just the solo Wolverine for months. And then finally, like one panel at the start of one comic, there's like all these people in weird blue and yellow costumes wondering where Wolverine is. And I was like, who the hell are these people? Get out of here. And then I flipped the page and I found out, he's fighting some guy made out of like spores or something. So it was Wolverine. And then the cartoon started. And I was like, oh my God, I get to watch Wolverine in cartoon form. Oh, who are these other people around him? Oh, that's it. And then I kind of got into X-Men. But it was Wolverine was the gateway drug to X-Men.
Such a phenomenal character.
I mean,
such
you know,
a phenomenal character.
And then to be in like my early 20s and they're finally revealing his origin, and that whole book was kind of awesome. And so it was just like it was I kind of went on this journey as I aged with Wolverine, and clearly like Wolverine, I don't age. So
Well, it's funny. One of the best parts of these books is in the core rulebook. I loved looking at all the pre-made heroes to see what their stats are. Well, the X-Men expansion book has a bunch of new mutants that they've added, and one of them is Old Man Logan. They have Old Man Logan. He's got 17 melee, 17 agility. He looks awesome. It's like gray sideburns.
So awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I mean, I could sit and talk nerdy all day. Let's make our own X-Men. And what I'd like to do, like I mentioned, I want to build a team of mutants who are their own thing. And like they might belong to X-Force or Alpha Flight or any of these things, but like maybe they're their own team. We started recording 45 minutes late because there was a big argument about what era it is. And I don't know if we were like, can't be post-Krakoa. We have to be during Krakoa. No, we have to be 97. So I think we kind of settled on 97. We're going to do like an early or late 90s team.
Yeah, there's like the Xavier's school is still in existence. Like all those things you think of in classic X-Men.
Classic X-Men tropes.
And you're a
Classic
group,
X-Men.
and we'll figure out. Maybe you met each other in the California, and decide, hey, you know what? Let's go to New York and join up with the school. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
West Coast X-Men.
Yeah, it could be West Coast
X-Men.
X-Men.
West Coast X-Men.
X-Men.
What I want to do is really lean into the offerings in the new book. There's new team maneuvers, and it's cool because the team maneuvers are based on your group that you belong to. There was one I wanted to highlight here. Where is it? Like if you belong to Alpha Flight, the new team maneuver is Need a Hand Bub. It's at a level 2 offensive team maneuver where Wolverine just makes a surprise appearance and
that's awesome.
joins your team for the whole fight and then leaves.
That's awesome. That's so Marvel versus Capcom. That's a total like Marvel versus Capcom.
Need a hand bub?
That's awesome.
Need a hand, bub?
So there's all sorts of new stuff, origins, traits, everything. And there's also 4 new power sets. And in our emails back and forth before we went live, I said, I want to make sure that each of you focuses on one of these new power sets and build your character around those things. And we'll get into that later. But let's just jump right in. We're going to be using rank 3 heroes. This is in the core rule book. These are your champions. These are formidable superheroes. They've come up from street level. They've been around the block a few times. They can defend a whole city. And you probably already belong to at least one team of superheroes at this point. So the first thing we're going to do is pick our ability scores. And very cleverly, as I mentioned the last time we did character creation, there are 6 ability scores that spell out Marvel: melee, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic. Just to give you a quick refresher, melee, that's for clobbering. And using examples from the new book, that would be like Cable or Apocalypse. Agility is for ranged attacks, ranged powers. You can think long shot as an example. Resilience, this is your stamina, your hit points. Defense against poisons or infections or disease. These are your tanks like the Blob. Vigilance is mindfulness, discipline. This affects the number of focus points you have. Think Kid Omega is a great example for that. Ego is your energy, your self-confidence. If you use magical or elemental powers, then ego is very important. Good example would be Banshee for that. And then logic is your reason and insight. You're inventing things and whatnot. And the best example, I think the highest logic out of the new characters in the X-Men expansion is Mr. Sinister, a very important mutant right now.
Nathaniel Essex himself.
You have 15 ability points to spend. You can spread them out any way you want, and you can also bring a stat below 0 to the negatives. You can't go further than -3, and you can't go higher than a 6 to start. And if you go negative, you get an extra point. So if you go to -1 right to start off, then you'll have 16 ability points to spend. But again, you can't go lower than -3. You can't go higher than 6, and that's based on your rank of 3. I think if you start at rank 4, you can go like a little further negative and a little higher than 6. When it comes to your ability defense, whatever you end up choosing, you just add a 10 to that. So if you have a 6 melee, then you have a 16 melee defense, which means you're not only good at punching, you're good at blocking punches. So I know you guys have kind of like rocked some concepts, and so I'm trying to think of the best way in here. I'm not too worried about you guys picking the same thing, but I would like you to spread yourselves out. When we did this last time, I said I want each of you to focus on a power, because then I knew you would, or an ability rather, like you're going to be melee, you're going to be ranged. I don't want to hamstring you that this time, but I do want to make sure you're a well-rounded team. So just talk it out. What are you guys thinking? Is someone leaning one way or another? High concept.
Oh,
Joe, would you like to go first? Because
Joe,
I'm
you
sensing
seem
you're already upset.
You seem excited or agitated.
Very excited.
They look the same.
I've got a couple concepts, but I would say the one thing that jumped out to me right away in the new set of powers from the new expansion is healing.
Yes.
And so I was like, I saw myself as making a healing mutant, but be part of the team. So
Are you
if
going to
that's
copy
Sydney,
every idea?
if that's Sydney's
that I
idea,
have before
all I can
I
say
get to
is
say it?
sorry.
No, take it. You want to be healing? Take it. Because I had a similar vein, but I can go in a different direction.
All right, cool. I'll hold on that for now, and if anybody else, wants to do it, I've got another idea, but it's not any of the other three in the book.
All right, so that makes me think vigilance, but I could be wrong.
I was thinking ego, but I could be wrong.
You're certainly going to need both.
Yeah. Okay.
And even resilience as well.
And I'll start looking through.
Well,
you need everything, but
vigilance will give you more focus points, which will allow you to use like your powers.
More. Okay.
Yeah.
And Troy, I have a question.
Yeah.
So these new power sets, for instance, like there's healing, and then it has a bunch of the powers listed that you can choose kind of in that set. Do you want us to only pick a set and like not spread our powers out?
No, you certainly should be a well-rounded mutant. I just want to make sure that you kind of lean into one of these groups,
Gotcha.
and then you can sprinkle. And there's also like common powers that any mutant can
And you
have
will
that
get
doesn't really-
you will get bonuses for kind of specializing in like a certain type of power. I can't remember like how it works, but you'll get like bonus points or bonus powers that you can use. Like
You'll also see there are some prerequisites for powers, like you have to have healing 1 before you have healing 2 or whatever it is. So just keep that in mind. You can't just jump to the most powerful version of the power. You have to spend on other powers. And when we get to powers, I think at rank 3, you get 12 powers. So just something to think about. You might have to spend, if you want a really great power, you might have to spend 3 other powers to get the prereqs to unlock that, which I love. I love that system. Like you're just basically, think of it as like power trees. You've got to decide which route you want to go. All right. So just in terms of high concept, you're leaning into healing. I did mention there were 4 new power sets: healing, luck, sixth sense, and translation, which is interesting.
Wow. Cypher.
Cypher.
Self-friend
Another self-friend. Yeah, another great character who was shat on by his readers.
Exactly. Yeah. I never understood.
And his creators to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Did luck jump out at anybody, or Sidney, what are you thinking?
Oh, go ahead, Skid.
Well, I was going to say like one of my other answers would have been Longshot. It was like another character that I love that no one else seems to like. But that's just like his power is this luck ability, which is insanely powerful. It can be an incredibly powerful thing.
Do you like that one, Skid? Do you want that one?
No, I have an idea already.
Okay. I was going to say my idea wasn't luck, but if I trample on your idea, I could take luck. I really like the sixth sense.
So cool.
I really want my character to maybe have gone to like Jean Grey's school. So she leans into like emotional stuff. So if I don't go the Grey Gardens, the School of Grey Gardens. Yeah. She's like a creepy old lady. No.
Lives with her daughter.
Singing,
She lives with her daughter. She's
a bunch
really
of pictures of the
confusing.
Kennedys up.
Just start singing at random moments.
She wears sort of like a little tie-on babushka handkerchief. She's a cool superhero. I was thinking Sixth Sense, though, in that vein, and trying to like, she's so in tune with people's emotions that she has this like heightened awareness of people's emotions around her, maybe. So she can tell when somebody's going to be bad or good, or she wants to like change a future event. She tries to help everybody. She wants to help everybody. And maybe sometimes she causes problems because she's like trying to, with her sixth sense, trying to like prevent the problems. And I think that's kind of fun and leans into the rogue, kind of mutant that I really like. So maybe I'll take Sixth Sense unless anybody else wants
I love that.
it.
I think
Sixth Sense is cool. If you look at the sort of power tree, you've got postcognition 1 is a prereq for postcognition 2, 3, and 4. And then on the other side, there's intuition is a prereq for precog 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. But you need intuition and precog 1 in order to get danger sense. So it's really, really interesting. You kind of have to decide at rank 3 if you want to be precog or postcog.
Yeah.
Because you could sprinkle a little bit of both, but if you want to be like heavy into one, you've got to lean into one or the other.
That's tricky. I feel like I'm probably going to go precog, but now I want to read into these and see what would be most beneficial for like the character tree.
Yeah. Did luck or translation jump out at anybody?
Luck was hitting me a little bit. I also wanted healing, but Joe just...
I can back out of it.
No. Well, here, let me tell you guys, because all I really have is a character idea, but I don't know what the mutant, what the X factor is for this person. But the idea is that it was, I'm not relating to this in any way. It's an actor.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right, so kind of like a movie star. And if we're thinking it's like the 90s, then I think, they started, Jackie Chan started making his second like US push in the 90s, like Rumble in the Bronx and all that stuff. So I think a lot of actors in the West were like, oh shit, crap, I got to do my own stunts, I guess. Okay. So I'm like an established movie star who is secretly a mutant and hasn't told anybody. He's taking
Oh, that's great.
He's taken the pills. I don't know if this lines up with the timeline. I honestly don't care. The hope vaccine or whatever it's called. Like he's where you can like dampen your you can like hide mutant abilities with pills.
Yeah.
So like a big time actor, he's addicted to pills. And to hide his true self.
Mutant Ozempic.
Yes. So, just shedding those mutant genes.
Yeah.
Wait, but how does it help you? Does it make you like super strong? Like you're like a stunt man or something?
No. So the whole reason he's doing it is he's trying to hide the fact that he's a mutant because he's worried that if he gets found out, then suddenly he's not booking gigs anymore. He's not a big movie star because, half the country hates mutants or whatever, wherever we're at, sort of socially speaking.
It's like Wonder Man.
Yeah. So, right. Okay. Yeah. So one day on set, he's forgotten to take the pills and he's trying to prove himself by doing some cool stunt and something goes horribly wrong. And so when I was thinking healing, it was like something falls and crushes him. Right. And everyone's like, oh God, no. Like everyone on set thinks this person is dead and they lift the thing off him. He's like, ah, and then like everything like reconstitutes. And now suddenly he's found out.
He's out.
And now his career tanks. Because it gets out. It's on the cover of all the trades. So-and-so is a mutie, all this stuff. So now no one will hire him. So he's like, the only way I'm going to get back in the good graces of the public is if I guess, join an X team and pretend to be a hero for a while. And then maybe I'll start getting the parts again.
That's great.
That's great, but I don't think it's healing.
So that's where the backup thing was luck that somehow, whatever it is.
I'm saying that power, I don't think is what this book is calling healing. Like healing in this is like healing other people.
Yeah, there's healing factor from the orial role.
Yeah,
okay. I thought
that's
this was
like Wolverine's power.
Okay.
I think you're a really lucky guy. It sounds like.
Or you could eschew the new powers, because there's 5 of you and there's only 4 new sets of powers, or dabble in a little bit.
Yeah, like you could have that power
super
from that
strength
and luck from the other one or something.
Like,
I want to lean into the new stuff so we feature it. So I mean, honestly, in order to become a successful actor, I've learned you need a lot of luck anyway. So maybe that was part of the reason he was able to because maybe he sucks. Maybe he can't actually act, but he's a movie star. So he just got lucky. That's sort of, he was secretly using his abilities to do this.
Using his ability all along.
Yeah.
So Rob, basically, if you wanted to go down the luck road as your primary thing, you can do that, and you can still, from the core book, I wouldn't see why not, take healing factor, which
all right.
is just a power that is outside of any set. It's Wolverine's power, and basically it allows you get free hit points at the end of every round. Like
Love
you just gain hit points. So
Okay.
I think that fits your concept perfectly.
Yeah. All right. Great. So luck with a splash of healing.
I wasn't thinking of featuring one of the new power sets for my character. I was going to feature a new origin and then use some of the new additional powers to existing power sets from the new book, if that's all right.
Yeah, an origin may sometimes restrict you within a certain power tree, I believe.
Yes, and this will be, this might need a little bit of I might need to have a couple of narrator exceptions made, but I wanted to make a brood character.
An alien?
Named.
Yeah, Skid came up with the name. I said that sentence, and Skid replied,
Homebrewed. A homebrew character.
yes.
All right, so talk about the mutant brood a little bit.
So the brood actually aren't mutants; they're aliens, but they're in this new X-Men book. They're a kind of insectoid, hive mind, warlike race that are like kind of actively predatorial, and they move from place to place trying to infect other species with their eggs so they can make more brood. But there's a character that comes up in, I first read him in Wolverine in the X-Men, but his name is Brew, and he's kind of an elevated brood, and he's kind of broken free of the hive mind because he's been freed by his particular queen.
They're basically like the critters. Don't they?
Yeah.
They kind of look like critters with the spikes.
Yeah, they're normally kind of very warlike and very, so the Brew, the character I knew, he's kind of like the intelligent, compassionate one. He's an exception. But I was
He
thinking,
wears cute little glasses.
he wears very cute glasses, and sometimes a suit. He wears a suit sometimes. But I think Homebrewed is more of a trickster figure, and he wants to get into the power control, power set where he's kind of manipulating other people's powers and his own. There's a swap power in the new book that I think would be super fun.
Oh, that's fun.
I think
Wait, it's not the swap. It's not the swap places one. Is there a swap powers one?
Yeah, there's a new swap powers where you basically just steal someone's power and they get your powers.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
he's just like he's not super smart, but he also wasn't super. Unlike other brood of his brood, he was not particularly inclined towards war and fighting. Instead, he would rather sit back and just kind of cause discontent and mischief around.
I like that a lot. All right, so Skid, it's come to you. I guess you're the translator. No.
I was thinking, because my idea was someone who is like very incredibly physically resilient, very slow, but with some psychic powers. And so I think like I could take, I really wanted edit memory and like memory blip. Like that's kind of the way I wanted to go. But I could use some of the translation stuff as like a manifestation of my psychic abilities. So I could do that too. I could pull from there.
Yeah. Maybe take a little dip in there. All right.
Yeah, take a dip.
Okay. All right. So let's just very arbitrarily, based on these basic combat concepts, start sprinkling in some numbers till they add up to 15 across your melee, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic.
Oh man, this
Troy,
is tough.
Will you help me and just remind me? So if I want to play a character, the way I'm envisioning her is extremely emotionally intelligent, has sort of like psychic-esque powers, not very strong. So I'm sort of like dropping melee, hopefully not going to be in melee.
Mm-hmm.
What would I want to boost the most? I know vigilance is going to give me my focus.
Yeah, I mean, concept-wise, that sounds very ego.
Okay.
Yeah, I would want to have good ego and good resilience.
And what about logic? What is logic referring to?
Logic is like Mr. Fantastic has a very high logic.
I think logic.
It's just intelligence.
Yeah, it's really intelligent.
It's
pure,
used
like,
for
left-brained
spells, like Doctor
intelligence.
Strange, right? Would be logic. I think it's used for casting spells and stuff.
That's ego.
Yeah.
That's
the book listed Strange as ego.
Yeah, usually
is the ego? Okay.
logic is like I want to figure out how this computer works. All right, give me a logic check, target number.
Science is logic.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
Reed Richards.
Yeah, Reed Richards. If we were playing an adventure and you like need to make something real quick, like you see there's some components laying around, I'd be like, all right, well, give me a logic check. Maybe you can make something really fast that'll help you with what you're trying to do, or trying to break into a security vault or something with a computer. That's logic.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm reading further into the brood origin, and I think I may have to make this brood a queen. So home brood is a queen who just doesn't want to have kids. She's
Can't
like,
tell me what to do.
Yeah, you can't tell me
She's
what
like,
to do.
I've seen I've seen how you all are obsessed with procreation to the point of destruction, and I'm not going to participate in this in your culture of breeding. Anyway, yeah. So she's a kind of an ex-queen. That way she can get, and maybe she is a mutant brood. That way she can get some of these other powers. I feel like I'm offending all of the people who wrote this book, but I think it's going to be cool.
Sydney, to give you, I think ego is what you want. If based on what you say, you want to lean into ego.
Okay.
That's intimidating or persuading people, using psychic powers, protecting against psychological trauma and mind control, as well as using magic and elemental powers.
Yeah, that's what I want. Cool.
Anybody anybody got a sheet they feel pretty good with right now? Take a little peek. Take a little gentleman's peek. It's tricky.
I'm
you can
good.
always change it. Skid, you got something? Let's see what you got, Skid.
I think I'm good. Yeah, so there's me.
Oh, you punted
Whoa.
agility.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Like he's
Yeah,
very
he's
slow.
Being slow and lumbering.
Very, very slow.
Yeah, 10, 30, 40,
Whoa, your
yeah.
resilience.
Oh, maybe I'll.
Yeah, maxed out resilience.
Dang.
Yeah, that's nice. So you'll have a 16 resilience defense,
Yeah.
and an 8 agility
Yeah,
defense.
agility, yeah.
So you need to like stay away from everybody. Yeah, that's tough. Melee defense and agility defense are very important in like combat, but like ego defense and resilience defense, those are important against like mind control in terms of ego, or like withstanding the elements for resilience. That's great.
Yeah.
Love it. I miss this game.
I think I have mine ready too, Troy.
All right, let's take a peek, Sid. And you can always, like, as you start to pick powers, you might be like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to switch this around a little bit now that I see this power that I want is based on vigilance instead of ego. You can always move it later as long as you end up at 15.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that because I'm going through the powers now, but I think most of the powers are going to be what you were saying, super high in ego, all kind of mental stuff. I wanted to keep my vigilance up too. I didn't want to like dump it too much because I don't know how much focus I'll need for some of the powers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking, yeah, she is not strong. And I think she's also young. She's a student still, whether she's at Xavier School or like Jean Grey's school. I think she's still learning. She's only rank 3, but she's like extremely mentally like fortitude. She's got mental fortitude against things. And then she's super powerful for like getting into people's minds.
I like it. So go ahead and add a 10 to each of those, and that's what your defense score will be. So an 11 defense. So yeah, we don't have a real bruiser yet. It doesn't sound like this party is gonna. Well, no. Maybe Rob's character is gonna be the strong man.
That's.
Does he do his own stunts?
Well, I think he wanted to start doing it, and then things went horribly wrong.
He's just an actor.
I'm trying to find, Troy, do you have an idea of like, for the luck set, I was just trying to find if anywhere in the book it says like, if you're choosing this path, this is what you want to emphasize, but I'm not seeing that, but I don't know if it necessarily these things, because again, I'm the rookie to the game. So
yeah, I don't think there's a summary. I think you need to kind of like look at a power that interests you and then look at its effect and read like what the test is. They don't all have tests.
Got it. Okay.
But sometimes it'll say like do an ego check against the target number. On a success, you do X. On a critical success, you do X plus whatever. And like you see enough of those, you're like, okay, I need to make sure I have a high ego. I need to make sure I have a high agility, whatever
All
it
right,
is.
so I can.
Oh, I see. So look at the powers within my set. And
That's
like,
why I
look
think
at the
we
detail.
might end up back changing the abilities once you pick powers.
I would say the luck powers mainly. Just a quick glance here of like 4 or 5 of them. They use a lot of focus points, so you want a high vigilance. They are the powers themselves don't have checks. The ones that I looked at, they all just they use up focus.
Just focus.
Yeah,
It's super helpful, Rob, too, outside of just your luck stuff. In the core rulebook, they also have all those power sets. So, for instance, I was like, I need all the brain powers. And I see there's a whole set called telepathy. So I'm just going through now and figuring out what I can sprinkle in.
Yeah, because in my mind, I was like, oh, his ego would be high because he's this actor. But that's
not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Troy, did we say what rank we're going to be?
Yeah, rank 3.
Rank 3. Okay.
Yeah. So you can put that in on your sheet.
And we get 12 powers, correct?
12
4
powers.
per
12
rank.
powers, yeah. And there's a thing with powers. I don't think this came into play last time, but if you, I'll look at the exact rule, but if for any reason you specialize between like less, a certain number of power sets, you get more powers. Like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, you get a couple more extra powers, but 12 powers is enough. That's why I went rank 3, because you can sit here all day with going
For
nuts
real.
with powers. But once you
Just
start
keep
getting
shopping.
into those prereqs, you start burning through them pretty quickly.
Yeah, because so you have to take when you choose a set, you take all those powers, and then I know there's ways to like trade them out and stuff.
You
but I
don't have to. Well, when you choose a set, you just like you want to take a few from there. You don't necessarily take.
you don't
all
just
of
get them all. Okay,
You probably no, because you don't have enough to get all of them. Each one of those costs 1.
got it. Okay,
And you only have 12 to spend. All right, so we don't have to see everybody's sheet right now because we'll start filling them out as we go along. But I think this is a good time now that we have the concepts out and we've started to think about how this is going to affect the actual ability scores to start picking some backstory elements. Now, your backstory is going to give you your traits and your tags. The traits, if you remember, have mechanical benefits, right? So like a trait might be like, whenever you do blah, 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 add a +1 to your melee defense. Whereas tags are purely flavor. And you can get really, I imagine if we were to play a long-term campaign of this, you can like challenge your tags, and it can give you karma in the moment. Like if you're a hero and you're faced with a situation that would make you to do something that's non-heroic and you challenge that, you can gain karma, and karma gives you all sorts of benefits in the game. There's no limit to tags. You get them from your origin. So there are 7 new origins and 6 new traits in the new book. Do any of those origins jump out at you? Because your origin is really going to start setting you up. The origin starts to...
I'm sorry, what page is this on?
I mean,
It's
150.
on page 152 or 151, the origins start.
I think we're all mutants though, right?
But there's a lot of different mutant origins, too.
Yeah.
I chose
okay.
my origin is alien brood.
All right, so let's talk about that. All right, so it's already in there. And then what do you get from that?
Yeah, so I get the tags alien heritage,
Nice.
extreme appearance, tracks, and also villainous. I don't know if I am obligated to take all these tags, but because I don't know that my character is villainous. I think
Yeah, you
she's
can certainly change
rejecting. Yeah.
Maybe you were villainous.
Maybe I was. Well, when I was a queen and I was implanting eggs in people, that was villainous.
Kind of mean of you.
It was rather mean. And then for traits, I get fearless, hive mind, which I might reject since I've been expelled by the Empress brood.
Or maybe the echoes of the hive minds you have to like fight against.
Oh, yeah, that's
they
fun.
linger, yeah.
Venomous, an infector, because I'm a queen and I can implant brood. I could implant brood in other people.
All right, it's nice to have that option. Your
It also-
suggested occupation is military.
Yes, the brood are very militant, but she's kind of lazy. She'd rather not.
All right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the powers that they list, if your origin lists powers, I believe you have to take those powers.
That's my understanding.
We're
too.
all friends
So-
here. If you be like, I don't want to have additional limbs.
No, I like additional.
That's fine. But it makes life a little bit easier for you because you think 12 powers, I'll be here all day. You can take the ones that they force you to. Now, I know some of the origins in the core didn't have that, and that's true here as well. I'm seeing on the next page. But like the 3 alien ones all have powers that come with it. You have some limitations there. You talked about that. Are there any other aliens? There's alien marginalized. No, any in the group here.
Oh.
Alien Technarch, alien marginal alien.
No, but on the new list, I didn't think of this before, and this concept that I had in mind, I sort of like it's crossing over with what Sydney's saying and what Skid is saying. Like I had these telepathic sort of ideas in mind as well, because healing is not enough on its own to like make the character like that one power set. Yeah. You could if you were a higher rank, but at rank 3, it's like you're going to want to be able to do other things.
Fly.
Exactly. And so I wanted to do telepathy just because I love telepathy, and I didn't do it with my other character we made using the system. But like with where you guys are at, I'm going to eschew that. And I found something else I'm interested in. And then this origin jumped out at me, and I was like, this makes more sense to me than my original character concept for this, how this character is getting built in a way I wasn't expecting. There's a mutant artificial origin. And I'm like, you know what? I could take this because this character's powers spring from DNA manipulation, or that
like
makes them
Sinister
appear
stuff.
to be a true mutant. Yeah. So I'm going to
Mr.
play
Sinister's whole thing.
a
Like, he was
person
trying to.
Yeah, so I like the kind of one of the reasons I love Wolverine is the idea of like you are an experimented on mutant that escaped kind of thing, and like so I think I might borrow from that storyline. It's like this character might have been experimented on and escaped and is a little weird, and that kind of explains why they have these kind of strange combination of powers. So
Yeah, mutant artificial. So these are mutants that were not born with the X gene. The examples they use are Mr. Sinister, Deadpool, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and so those come with that comes with the tags Hounded and Mutant Associate. But like everything else, you're going to be pulling from yourself. There's Mutant External. There's just straight up Mutant, which is I imagine most of you are going to take, and then there's Monstrous Mumadrai. I might be mispronouncing that. An evil twin spirit from the astral plane. That each fetus must fight and defeat in the womb to be born.
Oh my God.
It's
amazing.
awesome. It's awesome.
Is that the Cassandra Nova
That's
thing?
Cassandra
Was it-
Nova,
yeah.
Yeah, few of them survive, but those who do can become terrifyingly powerful as they can copy DNA and fashion physical forms for themselves.
Whoa.
Sydney, that
it sounds
kind of
ridiculous, but
sounds
it's
like you wanna play
the
with it.
most amazing character.
It's almost like Terminator-esque. Like you just like stitch together like a new person and you just exist.
It's like
That's
in the
so
womb. Like that's part of
creepy.
they retcon Professor Xavier's origin story that he had a twin in the he had a Mumadrai in the womb, and he hit her with like a telepathic blast. It's great.
That's cool.
I want to be that, but I don't think it fits my character at all.
Yeah. Well, if you're just straight up mutant, nothing wrong with that. Your tags are Hounded and X gene, and then there's suggested tags of Arakai or Krakoan.
Would we all be Krakoan based on our timeline if we just
No,
choose
we're
a regular?
pre-Krakoan.
We're pre-Krakoa.
Pre-Krakoan, okay.
It's what we've arbitrarily decided here.
Yes.
It'll just be easier. I love all the Krakoa stuff and all. It's amazing, but I think if we get into post Krakoa, it's going to get really complicated.
Yeah, I think I'm doing just a regular old mutant. I just got that X gene. Just a mutant girl.
Yep. It's great, and if you're making non-mutants, like the origins that are in the core rulebook really can help you discover the source of your power. So if you have an idea for where your power came from, then you can find the origin to match it. Or if you like an origin, that can kind of lead you in a story direction. Like, oh, all right, so if that's the source of my power, here's how I think it happened.
Yeah.
Let's talk about occupations. These are back in the core rulebook on page 57. And this will start to help flesh them out a little bit more as well, because we know what Rob's character is, an
Entertainer, baby.
an entertainer. Anybody else have an occupation that jumped out at them?
Also, this picture in the core book of Dazzler is awesome.
Great.
I love Dazzler too.
Yeah.
Dazzler's
Dazzler's so
another
much
like
fun.
big favorite. She's neat.
Homebrewed is going to be a student.
A student.
Oh.
More, she's auditing classes.
Okay.
Does she look like a big giant insect?
Yes, she
Yeah.
goes to Xavier's school. She's like
I see. Okay.
she's hanging out. She's watching lectures. Maybe
I
she
think
maybe
So
she
you
has
get-
the homework.
She did a
get the-
drop in with Eve Ensler.
Exactly.
You get
Exactly.
the trait Quick Learner and the tags Mentor and Obligation School.
Yep.
But Quick Learner,
I think
you should look that up.
my character, who I think I found their code name. I think her name is going to be Kismet, Kissmet.
Ooh.
Oh.
Kismet.
Kismet.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yes, man.
Jumping ahead there. All right, so
But I think she's a student too, and maybe she's also auditing at Xavier School, but she goes to Jean Grey's school, so she is
They're the
a
same.
West Coast mutant.
Jean Grey's school is what Wolverine
Oh.
renamed Xavier's after Jean Grey dies one of the times.
Oh, I thought they were two entirely
Spoilers.
different. Yeah, what
Spoiler.
the heck?
It's X-Men.
Every
They've all
5 year
died.
spoiler.
They've all died and come back to life many
Oh,
times.
come on.
Okay, so then let's say she's in the school with Homebrewed, and maybe they know each other. Maybe they've seen each other at classes.
Is anyone choosing the occupation tycoon?
I was literally just looking at that. Was like, I kind of want to take this just because it's funny. But yeah,
I love the fact that you can just take it this as like, I'm mega rich. I just decided I'm worth billions of dollars. Like, I love this.
I am the
Just start the game
scion
like
of
that.
Scion of
Yeah, usually
massively
your
rich mega
beginning
corporation
adventurers
family.
start so poor, but you could just be like, I'm a tycoon.
Yeah.
What else? You got engineer. All right, for Rob,
I think
you're
I'm gonna
entertainer.
go-
Rob, you're going to get the traits famous, presence, and public speaking, and those
Oh,
will
yeah.
give you bonuses.
On some
Throughout.
ego checks, right? So I should probably keep ego a little bit higher.
Yeah,
I think I
or
get, like,
keep
edge.
it middling because you're going to get the bonuses when you need
Yeah.
to
Oh,
use
good
it.
point.
What do you think, Joe? You were jumping on something.
yeah. I think I'm gonna go military for a profession.
Ooh.
Okay.
So yeah, artificial experimentation within the military. So yeah, I just started filling it up at the top here. Mutant artificial, military, and then that comes with. So over here on my traits, I would put battle ready,
Yeah.
like that. That's good. Connections, military, and situational awareness. Yeah, I don't know. That feels like a good combo to me. When I started thinking about the healing and being support, I didn't also want to be inept at like combat. You know what I mean? Like you kind of, if you're going to be in the thick of it trying to help people rather than deal damage, you certainly want to be battle ready. So I think taking the military background will work.
Situational awareness is great. You get an edge on initiative checks.
Yes. Oh, phenomenal. Love an edge. Love a good edge.
Yep. So your initiative would have an E after it when you fill it out. Just to remind you of that. Awesome. All right. So we got military. We got 2 students. No tycoons. And and an entertainer. Skid, what are you going with?
I'm going with outsider.
Oh, you're
Ooh.
just an outsider. Okay. Traits are connections, outsiders. You know other outsiders. Fresh eyes and stranger.
Yeah, fresh eyes is cool. It's like, because I'm so new to everything, it allows me to approach things outside the box kind of solutions. So I get an edge to logic checks when faced with something new.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. How did this group come together? That we'll find out. Great. Okay, so we've got we've got some traits, we've got some tags, we've got an origin, we've got an occupation. You're also going to get 3 extra traits at rank 3 that you can choose. We don't have to go through every single one of them, but if there's some traits that jump out there, as I mentioned, these are ones that give you mechanical benefits. So be sure to, if you see something you like there.
And tags are just sort of flavor, right?
Tags
So
are flavor,
we
yeah.
can just pick whatever we want of those.
Yeah, there's no.
They're not tied down.
limit.
Like a trait doesn't equal
Yeah.
a certain amount of tags.
No. Yeah, those are just like, sort of fictional character building stuff.
Okay. Oh, there's some cool restrictions on them though, which makes sense.
Some
Yeah.
traits I would suggest. Battle ready gives you an extra 30 focus. That's a great one. I know this just from playing enemies because I've never got to play a hero. I haven't got to play a hero yet. I'm always running it. Combat expert is good. You get an edge on melee attacks against enemies of rank 1. So like when you're fighting a mob of just like low level guys, you're pretty much just going to take them out every single time. Lots of different ones. Anything jumping out at anybody?
One of the new traits
Yes, new
in
traits.
the X book is unusual size, and I'm going to take that as well.
Ooh, unusual big, unusual small.
Unusual big.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I forgot. There are a bunch of new traits.
What power or what page does that start on?
That is on 152.
Okay.
I like one, Troy. This is like, I feel like every narrator's nightmare maybe, but eidetic memory.
Oh.
Because my character has such mental powers, but it says the character rarely forgets anything. If their player forgets something, they can ask the narrator to remind them.
Hey, what did I forget?
Yeah, what did I forget?
Hey,
in
my
this entire
character
adventure?
knows all this shit. So if you could just, all this stuff, could you just tell me?
The Vision has
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
just-
yeah,
It's perfect.
Because
You just
it
say to
makes-
your GM, Vision knows everything
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything that's
that he's
happened to
ever
him.
seen or read or heard.
Yeah, just because I'm a dummy doesn't mean that my cool
Right.
character is. I love that. I think I'm going to take that. That's
That is
really
cool.
fun.
Take it. Matthew, you mentioned with the Brood, Hive Mind, and Infector are two of the new traits.
Yeah.
A couple other ones. Venomous is
I get
fun.
that too.
You get that one too. When the character uses sharp melee weapons powers and gets a fantastic success, they have the option of causing a target to be poisoned rather than bleeding. And then there's external awareness. The character has a telepathic link with all other externals, capital E. This allows them to know where other externals are, know when other externals are first killed, know when an external kills another external, telepathically call for other externals. But this is only helpful if you know what an external is.
I want to take this trait that's just called weird.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What does that one say? Does it say,
It says the
hi,
character-
I'm Rob?
Yes. The character has something weird or even wonderful about them. This causes people to have strong reactions to them, both good and bad, which I feel
I
like
love
is in
that.
line with where I'm going with this guy. They have an edge on all ego checks to persuade people inclined to like them, and trouble on all ego checks against people inclined to dislike them.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's great.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Is there?
What do you got?
Sorry. Is there a limit to the like? How do you figure out how many traits you can do? Is there like? Isn't there
You
some
get
sort of
3
balance?
more. So your origin and or your occupation will give you traits,
Uh-huh.
and then you get to pick 3 extra traits.
Oh right. Okay. So yeah. So
at
there's
this
one
rank.
right there. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I got mine, Troy.
What do you got?
All
Got all
done.
3?
All together, yeah, I got all 3. Battle
Okay.
ready, because that plus to focus is
Let's
huge.
see your sheet. I want to see this.
Oh, yeah. Battle ready. I get my quick learner from being a student. Eidetic memory, because that's hilarious. And investigation, because we need somebody smart in this group, and I'm not sure if we have somebody yet.
That's rude.
Well-
Homebrewed would rather not participate in intellectual discussions.
Wow. At least they know themselves. They're really self-aware.
That's cool.
Okay.
What does investigation do? What's the bonus?
You get an edge on vigilance checks to spot clues and on logic checks related to interpreting the clues, which is awesome, like a twofer. And if we have access to a forensics lab, they gain a second edge on such checks. So I think I might move around some of my skills a little bit if I'm going sort of the more logic and mental power.
Switch those ability scores a bit. Can you go back up to the top there?
Yeah.
The L in learner is lowercase, and it just doesn't match the others, and I will not be able to sleep tonight.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Oh, my heart
was a
is
close
slowly
call.
coming back down.
Oh, okay. All right. I got another trait that I'm pumped about. So
Let me see your sheet.
yeah, get over here. Come on in.
Get over here, you
over
son of a
here.
gun.
Get over here,
I'm
you son
formatted
of a-
correctly. Look, my code name is Rising Star.
That's amazing.
But his actual name is Bobby Star.
Come on.
Is that his stage name or is that his real name?
Who knows? I was actually thinking he's probably like Robbie Starvansky or something like that.
There
He was
we go.
worried about being, he's worried about being profiled both as European and a mutant.
Fred Starvansky. Bobby Star.
But,
oh my
uh,
God, this is so
but there's-
fun.
Keep the star.
There's something called signature
Yeah,
attack.
it's cleaner.
And that just made me think, like, if he's trying to get into action movies, remember how Van Damme would always fucking do, excuse me, he would always do a split and then punch somebody in the testicles? I feel like that's his move. Is like trying to, like, this is what I do. And maybe that's the thing that hurt him on set, because he had and stretched or something.
Did a split and he got hurt.
Like his whole, just tore his groin.
And then a light fell on him.
And then a light fell. So his legs
that's
went like
great.
this. Yeah. So
Oh,
that's
no.
his signature.
Hey, wait. Here's an idea. Let me pitch this.
Yes.
So you're taking the mutant power suppression drug, right?
Uh-huh.
You hurt yourself doing the splits like that. You're like, oh my God. Like I can't do the shoot. Like I'm so messed up. So you don't take the drugs so that your healing factor will heal this power.
Oh, there you go.
And then the accident happens.
Yes. That's great.
I think you have room for one more power.
I do,
Just-
yeah. I'm looking them up now.
All right, so you got some now. Joe, did you any trait? I said power trait jump out at you, Joe?
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go with. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with combat reflexes.
Yes.
Which is going to be allows me an extra reaction every
Yes.
round, and I think that this might be helpful for somebody who's trying to be a healer, because of the way I'm going to go with Iron Will, I believe, which is going to help me. I get an edge on ego checks to break free of mind control or other compulsions, just because in imagining this, like. I imagine this person to be extremely kind of closed off and almost like a loner. And I was looking at that here, which is another cool trait. A loner does not play well with others. I don't think it fits exactly, that synergizes well with the healing thing. But Iron Will, I'm just kind of picturing. And then I kind of want to go shopping for this. Right now I have it in there as surprising power. I think that I could get a rank 4 healing power with that.
You can.
As long as I don't need the prereqs. So I'm going to put that in for now.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to do a little shopping at rank 4 and see if I can't find something juicy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Keep in mind with combat reflexes, when you choose your powers, choose a couple powers that are reactions, because you actually
I already
choose
know
the
a healing one that's a reaction. So I'm going to synergize with that, hopefully.
Great. Skid, let's take a look at yours, see where you're at.
Okay, so I have the unusual size, and I got to figure out how this synergizes with one of the other ones. But
Yeah.
unusual size, connections outsider, fresh eyes, strangers from his origin, or unusual size is one of my bonus ones.
Yeah.
And my other bonus one is big, like he really is big. And then the last one, and that gives me the bonus to. It gives me a penalty, another penalty to my agility defense and melee defense, but I get a bonus to something cool. My
You're easier
strength.
to hit, but you get more hit
I
points.
get
or
plus
something.
1 to my run speed and increases my reach to 2.
Yes. Yeah. Which is huge.
And then the last one is determination. I just refuse to give up. Even when I feel like I'm at my worst. While demoralized, I do not gain trouble on all actions, even though I still cannot maintain concentration or spend further focus.
That's great. We've played enough to know that demoralized comes in a lot, so having that is great. Very cool. All right, I'm starting to. This guy I know is going to be a secret that is slowly we're revealing over this, but I like. I wasn't expecting big and unusual size, so I really don't know where that's going to go. And then Matthew, did we round out yours?
Yeah, I also took weird because I'm a big alien.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So I thought that felt right. And I also took glibness.
Glibness.
This character can strike up a conversation with anyone at any time and can often convince them to lend a hand.
I love the idea
Wow.
of this glib monster.
I get an edge on ego checks to persuade characters that I'm speaking to for the first time.
Pretty
be so
intense
glib.
heat wave we're having, eh?
Exactly. Can you carry this for me?
All right, so we've got some abilities that may change a little bit as we start to further develop this character. We've got traits, origins, some tags, occupations. Let's take a quick break, because when we come back, we're going to pick some powers for these new superheroes and figure out what this team is all about. We'll be right back in a minute. We're back. Gonna pick some powers. I mean, all this other stuff is fun, but the powers are what really make a superhero feel super. Before we jump into that, though, Joe, tell everybody watching how they get more of the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game.
Yeah,
I think I said multiverse, but I meant to say multiverse.
If you guys are digging this and want to try it out for yourself, we of course encourage you to do so. The X-Men expansion is out as of Gen Con, and there are more expansions to come down the line. In fact, you'll see an interview about this on Sunday during Gen Con, where I interview the lead designer, Matt Forbeck, and CJ Cervantes over at Marvel, who is the project lead and is all kinds. I mean, they are thinking so far ahead on this game. It's incredible. So there's so much stuff to come. But as far as this goes, you can get this book, wherever you support your local game retailers is really a great idea. So if you want to, go to your local place, they should have it there, pick it up there. And also, if you don't have like a small local place, you should be able to get this at Target. Marvel made a deal with Target. And so, anywhere there's a Target, you should be able to find the MMORPG. And that's, if you want to get the core because you don't have it yet, pick that one up. But if you have played it and you're interested, what's that? Yeah, it is. It's so beautiful.
Really gorgeous book.
It's great when you're turning the pages and you're like, I remember that panel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, if you're interested in checking out the X-Men expansion, there's that too. And there's also, they just released, I mean, we're, teasing around with this at Gen Con as well. They're releasing Deadpool role plays the Marvel universe. So it's like a comic book sized adventure, like a totally, digestible, quick adventure. You could play with your friends. You could take a group of mutants out and play a Deadpool adventure, and that's available to purchase now too. So please support them. They have supported us and sponsored this stream so that we could have a booth at Gen Con and do all the stuff we're doing at Gen Con. So if you want to check out this game, please, support the team over at Marvel that's making this RPG because they are working their asses off on this project. It's a real passion project for them.
Yeah, the Deadpool role plays the Marvel Multiverse. We played part 1 at San Diego Comic-Con just a couple of weeks ago, but it's a really fun 4-part adventure, I think. And if you were at the show at San Diego Comic-Con, you got a variant cover that featured many of us dressed as Deadpool, drawn by one of the Marvel artists.
It's a collector's item.
It really is.
It really is. And stay tuned for some more exciting Glass Cannon Marvel news coming up very, very soon. However, let's make these heroes super pop. It's mutant time. Now, powers. There are lots of different sets. I mentioned the 4 new sets: Healing, Luck, Sixth Sense, and Translate. Translate didn't really do anything for anybody. That's all right.
I think Translate is...
Oh, you took a little Translate.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like reading people, reading mind, reading thoughts, reading reactions and stuff. You can dabble. There are a bunch of different power sets from the core rule book. You can choose from any of them. If you had like I know Matthew, your character is kind of locked into a couple of powers. Honestly, I think that's a lot easier. You don't have to go through the whole list. But you can choose from anything you want. And one little caveat, if you limit yourself, basically... just reading straight from the book here. If you use powers from fewer sets than the character's rank, you get a thematic bonus. This is equal to the character's rank minus the number of power sets they use. So at rank 3, if you were to only pick, for example, healing powers, you would then get 3 minus 1 set, 2 new extra powers that you could pick that would also have to be healing. So you could like super specialize. Spider-Man, for example, uses just the spider power set and basic powers. Basic powers don't count as a set. And he's rank 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. He gets 3 bonus powers, which are all more spider powers, which makes him the greatest hero, as we've seen Sydney play him in several games. And you ruins all my encounters.
It's true.
But your power sets are from the core. You've got elemental control, illusion, different kinds of magic, martial arts, melee weapons, omniversal travel. There's a few different ones of those. Phasing, plasticity, power control, ranged weapons, resize, shield bearer, spider powers, super speed, super strength, tactics, telekinesis, telepathy, teleportation, weather control, and then your basic powers, which I highly suggest you grab a few from. A lot of good stuff in there, and then a lot of those rank up as well as like sturdy 1, 2, 3, 4, all giving you different things. So the floor is yours. Who are these people? Let's define them by their powers. Who's like, I got it. Who's teacher's pet? Sydney, what do you got?
Sydney, classic teacher's pet.
I got it. The powers are, I've actually never made my own original character with the Marvel Multiverse yet, because when I started playing with you guys, I just played as Peter Parker. And when we played at Gen Con, I think I picked Storm. It was really fun, but this is like so much fun.
It is like making your own thing. It's so fun.
Here's where I struggle, if I can interject for a second.
Yes.
The what's the best word for this? What I'm being, the nerd in me, it just like freaks out, because I'm like, well, if I'm flying, but I got a healing thing and I can do this. It's too jumbled. Like I feel like I took everything from a salad bar and I don't know if it feels like I'm cheating.
Overflowing.
You know what I mean? Like it feels like I'm not being consistent in a weird way, and I don't know why I'm policing myself that badly when it's like
no, but Rob,
fly.
I feel the same way. I took fly because I was like, obviously I'm going to fly, but then actually I took it away because I was like, actually it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for my character.
Like Rogue makes sense. She's got that, because I think maybe it's because of the mutant thing. I'm like, well, most mutants, like their one thing appears right when they hit puberty, but Rogue can also, she's got the touch thing, but then she can fly and she's super strong because of the Captain Marvel situation.
She got the flying
right?
from,
like so that all like that's a lot that she can
Carol
do.
Danvers mind meld swap thing.
So that's, or like Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Telepathy and also what is it when you lift stuff with your mind and throw it? Telekinesis. Like that all seems tied together, because like, oh, her mind is just insane and amazing.
So I'm taking a page from that book, from the Jean Grey, because my whole idea was like maybe she went to the Jean Grey school, which didn't exist yet in our universe of
the metaphorical Jean Grey school.
Yeah, she's just a big fan of Jean Grey. So I'm gonna go with my basic powers. I'm doing brilliance.
Basic. Brilliance.
Yeah.
What does brilliance give you?
Basically, you're basic. You get a +1 to your logic damage multiplier, and you get a +1 bonus to logic checks that are not attacks. So it's helpful. I feel like it's a classic good one to do. Then I'm going to do bump power as my next basic one. So I can bump up another character's power. I pick a power from another character within 5 spaces. I boost it. And then it's like if the power has ranges or affected areas, stuff is doubled, blah, 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 blah. But basically, I'm being like a buffer for our group, our superhero group.
That's cool.
Because I dipped my melee. I'm so weak. I'm really not strong, and I shouldn't be up there punching, but I like want everyone to help. I want to help everyone. That's just her character. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want anybody to get hurt except the bad guys. So
bump power, that's really cool. So you're standing in the back and you're just kind of like doing a little team control.
Yeah, and then the next one, inspiration, obviously. Inspiring my allies. I inspire an ally in earshot, and they gain an edge on all attacks and checks until the start of the next turn.
Oh, great. Man, that's awesome.
Does anybody else want to do their bait? I don't want to take over the whole thing. I've got all my powers, but I'm still going through.
You got all your powers.
I got all my powers.
Anybody got the 3 they want to throw out there?
I can throw out a couple.
Yeah, go ahead, Matthew.
Matthew's probably already done here.
I've got a bunch. I'm just filling in my sheet now. But yeah, I'll explain some of the ones I got from being a brood. So I have initial one. I have a tail, which just gives me an edge in melee and agility checks. So that's roll. Yeah. So the edge is great. Opposite of trouble. Roll. You get 1 bonus roll. You can drop the lowest, etc.
Yeah.
And then I got Mighty 1, which gives me a +1 to my melee damage multiplier and a +1 to non-combat melee checks.
Now, would that make you want to change your melee ability score at all? Just to give you a
no,
little boost?
because Homebrewed is actually quite lazy, and
I
as
love
all homebrews are.
I love Homebrewed.
She's not so much into the fighting. She has other ways. You'll see. She has other ways she's going to contribute, but no, she's not going to. She's not going to really get involved if she requires physical exertion.
Okay.
And then she gets Sturdy 1, which gives me health damage reduction one, which is, we've learned in this game, DR is huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
The way DR works is that it lowers the multiplier of the damage. So if if the Hulk punches you, and the Hulk's got like, off the top of my head, I want to say like a ×6 damage multiplier. If you have DR2, it would only be a ×4 damage multiplier. So I would highly suggest people that don't want to take a punch in the face, take Sturdy 1, Sturdy 2, maybe even Sturdy 3. Make yourself, that we've seen that come into play a lot.
Oh, my face is my livelihood. I'm taking sturdy for sure.
Lower that damage multiplier.
Those are my basic, and then everything else is going to be in the power control. So cycle back to me, and I'll have those filled in.
Great. Skid, what are you cooking over there?
So I have a few right now. So I took Mighty 3, which is the maximum amount of sort of physical might you can have at this rank. And then then I took Sturdy 2, which you're saying like it's like DR.
Yeah.
Damage resistance. So that is also the maximum I can get. So then I want to try to dip into the telepathic tree, the telepathic power group. And so telepathic link is one that is just like a prerequisite for basically everything. And it just allows you to create just a telepathic connection with another person, like one other person.
Okay.
And then, so this is the crux of like sort of his concept, is this memory blip, which allows you to sort of skip time, like sort of erase a memory and like skip over it, like blip over somebody else's memory. If you just like you steal a magazine or something, I don't know. Well, it's 90s. I guess you can steal a magazine. Steal Lindy's NCAA football preview from the 7-Eleven. The guy's like, "Hey, put that down." You're like, "I didn't steal anything," and they're just like, "Well, where'd that Lindy's go?" Like 2 days later. So
memory flip. That's cool.
Yeah, and then because I wanted to switch because I realized that like the new trait, unusual size or extraordinary size, whatever it is, that's in the X book. It's actually sort of intended for, it's bigger than I want to be. It's like huge would be the next level up. And it's for people who have, it's sort of a permanent version of people like Giant Man or whatever, who can like change their size like that. So it'd be like 18 feet tall. He's not that big. Okay. So I just kept big, and then I got rid of that. And then I took, I'm taking surprising power like Joe did. Because the other telepathic power that I want to take is memory editor. So I can change people's memories, like give them other specific memories.
Oh,
that
is that a rank 4 power?
Which is a rank 4 power, so I need surprising power to take that. So I'll just explain like his deal, like where he came from and everything.
Yeah.
So he was born in like the 2nd century AD in Mesoamerica, to an Olmec sort of village. And he was a mutant, and he looks like a tortoise, like a Galapagos tortoise, an anthropomorphic tortoise. And his birth coincided, much unfortunately for him and his family, with an eclipse and a climate change event that sort of ruined like the crops like for the village for years. And so of course he was blamed, and so as this ill omen, and so he was chased out of the village. His mother like took him and just sort of set him on his way, and he went down to the Pacific Ocean and just decided he's going to leave his fate with the gods, like lays down, floats out to sea until he hits the Galapagos Islands. And then when he gets there, he finds all these like Galapagos tortoises, like these creatures that look just like him. And so he feels like this was fated.
Becomes their king.
Yeah. Well, he's just like, he can't really like talk to them or anything, but he's just like sort of living among them as like this like weird hermit, very lonely, until the HMS Beagle shows up. And Charles Darwin he's coming out there, and he's studying the tortoises and like, throwing marine iguanas into the ocean, like all the stuff that Charles Darwin did. And then my character comes out and it's just like, "Hello, how are you?" And it destroyed Charles Darwin. It like destroyed. He was just like, because he had all his theories and everything, and he sees me, and it's just like none of what I came up with makes any sense now. Like my career is over.
You could also I mean, if you wanted to, you could be the reason why he discovered evolution.
Yeah,
Because he looks at the turtles and then he looks at you and he's like, wait a minute.
But it's just like, but that was so my idea was that like, it's like I could see how like meeting me was so like troubled him so much. So he used his memory editing ability to kind of just replace me with sort of the idea of me. And thus the idea of the theory of evolution was born.
Yes.
You're a giant turtle man.
Right, giant tortoise man.
Tortoise man.
And then eventually it's just like then he makes his way to New York and he's just like wants to kind of he's just really lonely like among the tortoises and everything, and so he comes to New York and ends up joining the X-Men. But that's the outsider trait. He's just like he's very much a fish out of water. So
I love that. Awesome. All right. So, I mean, with Mighty 3 and Sturdy 2 and those other powers, you're already at 8 out of your 12 powers there because of the prereqs on Mighty and Sturdy. Great. And you see how quick those powers go once you start taking the 3s and the 2s. Awesome. One thing to think about is if you don't, and I said this last time, just pick powers, but if you don't want to spend all your powers, any leftover powers you can add to ability points.
That's right.
You just can't go over 6.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so you can't go over 6 and you can't go below -3, but you can you could just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go with 11 powers and have 2 6s.
Maybe I'll boost my melee after all, and I'll just and Homebrew will just choose not to engage.
I choose not to fight. Joe, you've had some time there. Let's take a look at your old sheet.
I can't. I can't do it.
You hate making decisions.
I have to bow out. I can't make these decisions. This is insane. We also I know we're not playing this, but we should act like we are.
Yeah.
And
we may end up playing it at some point.
Who is doing
never
a
know.
rude
I'm
and
ready.
anthropomorphic tortoise, and already, well, how could we not at some point play these characters?
We're gonna
come on.
have to play this.
Yeah.
So who and how are we outputting massive amounts of damage?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like we haven't had that
We
melee
have a
character.
real problem.
So I've been,
We are basically an entire turtle team
Yeah.
that is going to be the most boring show on Earth.
I've been
'cause we can
leaning
never
towards
be
a
hurt.
bunch of melee stuff now. I basically realize I'm Johnny Cage, but a mutant.
Mutant Johnny Cage.
Yeah, so I'm putting. I mean, right now I got a melee of 3. I can finagle that if we think I need to go higher, but I'm doing tons of fast strikes and combat trickery and whatever, a bunch of, and then some what is it with a weapon, like a melee weapon situation.
Yeah. So right now, I am, my concept using the healing tree was to not deal any damage, and it kind of sounds like that's where most of us are, 4 out of the 5 of us. So that's a problem. I might have to scrap the whole thing and
I think
build
it's
something else.
I think it's okay.
In addition to healing, but all right. So here was the idea. So you can see the powers I've selected under the healing tree. So you've got Let's Go, which is basically you can prevent a target from going down, from going unconscious as a reaction. So if enough damage would take them to 0 as a reaction, you can keep them up for a round. And what's cool is that it's a reaction, and with the time to do a standard, you might be able to heal them before their next turn ends or whatever. I have to look into the intricacies of it, but you don't permanently keep them up, but it does buy you some time. Then there's Healing Hands, which is just straight up healing. I have to, however many focus points I give up, they get that many health points. Then there's the one I took for the first surprising power. By the way, I went back for a second and did a second surprising power. We'll see if that comes true. But I did Cure All, which is a rank 4 power, which is just with a touch, you cure anything that ails the creature.
Wow.
Cool.
And it costs... Yeah, it costs 15 focus, and it's just a cure-all.
That's great.
And then it transfers over to the focus stuff. This is great because it's not just your health. So then I do Never Surrender, which is the other side of the coin from Let's Go. I can make a target that went to 0 focus function normally and not be demoralized and get right back in the fight. That one is great because the duration is concentration. So once I touch you with that, you can just keep playing even if you're at 0 focus. You just can't spend any more focus, but you would be able to at least act. In our first game that we did at Gen Con last year, I believe, we had somebody go to 0 focus and they went out. They were out. Was it Storm, wasn't it? Didn't Storm go to 0 focus?
Storm went down. And then we were like, how do we heal Storm?
Yeah, it was just really weird. I don't think
happened in San Diego too. I think Nora's character in San Diego Comic-Con went down to 0 focus.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway, that's called Never Surrender. And then there's the other side of Healing Hands, which is Soothing Touch. I can give you focus points. So as many focus points as I give, you get. So really good support powers. So a lot of these things have to do with touch. You have to touch them. The range is reach. And so I was thinking about maybe like phasing, but that was the initial character I built. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to dip into something that I haven't done yet in the Marvel Multiverse roleplay game, and I never thought I would do, which is plasticity.
So you want to stretch out and touch?
So I started experimenting with this. Extended reach 1, extended reach 2.
Oh, wow.
So I could reach out up to 10 times my reach. So that would be like 50 feet, basically.
I love it.
Anywhere on the battlefield and touch people to like keep them up or heal them or whatever.
Oh, that's great, Joe.
So I thought that sounded really fun. And then if you want to try to keep it to only 2 power sets, and including not including basic, that would lead me into like slip free, which is
that's a good one.
Basically it's like trigger, you get grappled. It's a reaction. Effect, you are no longer grappled. Like there's no check. You just like slip right out of it. Then there's Flexible Bones 1 and Flexible Bones 2, which I loved. I had no idea this would be a part of plasticity. It's essentially, Skid, the other side of the coin from your, I can't remember the powers that you were doing to get DR, but it is DR. For your plasticity.
Sturdy.
So like, sturdy.
Okay.
So Flexible Bones 1 gives you DR1 for your health, and Flexible Bones 2 gives you DR2 for your health. So when you get hit, you just like absorb a lot of the kinetic energy before it harms you.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff there. And then the last one I had, this is pretty expensive, is Bounce Back, because you got to have Flexible Bones, you got to have Slip Free as prereqs. But this is it's another reaction. Trigger is you fall or you're knocked prone. The effect is you bounce up off the ground with no damage. If you're prone, effect is you immediately become not prone. So pretty cool options there. Anyway, but now I'm looking at this and I am going to deal 0 damage. So I'm like, all right, I got to rethink some of this stuff. I don't know, but this was a really fun like kind of concept as it was coming together.
That's really great. So you've got 2 more there. You could go basic, or you could you still have one. You would have 1 bonus power right now if you don't dip into another power set.
I know.
So you've got a lot of options there. Great. All right, Rob.
I think I'm ready to go. If you want,
let's take a peek at Rob because we haven't seen anything he's done yet. And then we'll come back
for the best
to you.
So I took a couple of things from this lucky the luck set. Mm-hmm. Some lucky me's, some jinx yous, some evil eyes. Just basically ways to reduce, I guess make it what is it, tough when they have to roll disadvantage. Trouble. Thank you. Tough. Annoying. There was a bummer because there was one called Charmed Life, which I was like, oh, that's perfect for a Hollywood actor. But it was required rank 4, so we're not there yet. But the thing I'm really into, to Joe's point about realizing, okay, we need some melee. If my guy was an action star, he's, this Johnny Cage element. But then I was also thinking about this iconic weapon, because the iconic weapon could be literally like the time he was in a Barbarian movie and had this broadsword that, you guys ever seen, there's a movie, Skid's seen it, I'm sure. There's a movie called Sword and the Sorcerer where the guy had three blades.
And they shot the blade shot out of the sword hilt. Yeah.
It was amazing. It's a broadsword, but picture 3 blades all next to each other.
Yeah.
It's completely impractical.
It's like Link's sword in the original
Yeah,
Zelda.
I'm not saying that that's what he does, but I think he was in some horrible...
Or like Krull, like the blade thing from Krull, like something
exactly.
like that.
He was in some sort of awful barbarian movie where he had this crazy sword.
Well, it
And
starred Lee Horsley.
It did star Lee Horsley and
really?
Richard Mall of TV's Night Court.
Wow. I do remember Richard Mull being in it.
played
I
Bull.
can't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't remember Lee Horsley. Wow. That's awesome.
He's the
Lee.
hero. He's like the shirtless barbarian guy
I
running
didn't know
around.
that was
We
Lee
were,
Horsley.
we were big fans of Lee Horsley in the Glass Cannon because he did the audiobook for Lonesome Dove, and it is incredible. It is
Yeah,
just
he does
incredible.
so
read.
good. Because I really only knew him from the ABC TV show Matt Houston.
Yeah, Houston
The-
was. Yeah, Houston
Which
was
is
great.
it.
Just a PI or whatever he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Right.
a PI like in Texas.
And it blew my mind because he had a beard in that show, but it was in this barbarian movie. He had no beard, and as a kid, you
I think that's why I didn't recognize him. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he had the mustache. He had the
Oh, it
big
was the
like
mustache,
top
that's
like
what it was. Yeah,
mustache.
yeah.
Right.
So Rising
Anyway.
Star has a broadsword, a triple-edged broadsword.
Oh, I don't know if it's triple edged yet. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'm going more inspiration than complete ripoff. But I don't know if that even means. I think in the book, I think they're trying to imply it's like Mjolnir or something like that, where it actually has special properties.
But maybe like Mysterio or somebody like made you an actual version of whatever that weapon was.
Oh,
Like one that
yeah.
actually worked.
Yeah, and it's like it's
You know.
infused with star power.
Yeah. I have a credit.
Top of show.
I wonder if is there a power that lets you materialize the weapon so you don't always have to carry it around town?
I like where your head's at.
There must be something like that. Like pull it from
I can research that.
pull it from an extra dimensional
Something
space.
like magic can do, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, look under.
Yeah,
There's three different
she does
schools
that
of
with her
magic.
sword.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
check that out.
All right, so you're in great shape, Matthew. You feel like you've rounded it out here.
I think I've rounded it out.
All right, let's see what this son of a gun can do.
Okay. I stayed within the power control set, so I got a bonus 2 powers, and I just used those to bump my mighty and my sturdy up to 2 for both. So I have mighty 2 and sturdy 2 now.
Nice.
And then I ended up spending the additional 2 powers I already had to bump my melee up.
Oh.
So it's So Homebrewed could, if properly motivated, could get in and tango. But the power control stuff is cool. So I'm basically manipulating both my own powers, all of your powers, and maybe if we're facing anybody with powers, their powers as well. So I'll start with the new ones from the X book, which is Power Slider, which basically feels so great, so perfect. Ooh, wrong book. Sorry, I'm looking up the. It's a bit of a lengthy description, but basically, hang on, wait for it.
Power slider.
Okay, yeah. So we set criteria, and if things are going well for me, all my other powers get boosted. If they have ranges or areas or duration, everything gets doubled. If they have, I add 1 to the effects. Anything that normally happens on a fantastic success happens on a regular success. But if things are going badly for me, in whatever criteria we establish, everything gets dampened. So everything goes down by half.
Ooh.
So I'm
Wow.
a little bit subject to my moods and whims.
That's cool.
As you might imagine, a former queen of a insectoid hive mind might be.
Yeah.
And then, so the other one that's from the new book is called Swap Powers, which is exactly what you might think. So you basically use an ego attack for a character within range, and you just swap all of your non-swap powers with all of their powers. So if we're fighting Spider-Man, for example, and I succeed on my check, basically I get all of Spider-Man's powers, and Spider-Man gets all of my power manipulation powers.
Whoa.
Wow.
Holy crap.
What a
This
nightmare
is-
for the narrator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just is so chaos.
Yeah.
And then I
Wow.
went for copy power, which same idea. I can within 10 spaces, I can just pick a power of another character and just duplicate it. So I could do like Joe's healing power if I wanted to, or Skid's memory manipulation, whatever. And they obviously have to spend the focus to do it with all of these. That works. And then dampen power, same thing. So an ego attack within somebody within 20 spaces. And if I success, I have all of their areas and all of their durations of their powers, and they cannot get a fantastic success.
Wow, it's really cool. It's like if you've left this hive mind behind, it's like your innate desire to be a part of everything else around you is continued.
Yeah,
and is now manifesting in a different way.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's cool.
So then I have swipe power, which I can if I have a grabbed target, so that melee, that's the reason I went for the melee, is like it actually might come into play, is like if I grab somebody, or I think if someone is grabbed, I can just I can use an ego attack to steal one of their powers, and they can't use it, and I can use it. Wow. And then clone moves, it allows me basically to steal or duplicate any power that's under the special training origin. It comes from the special training origin. So this is going to be kind of more basic powers, combat, that kind of thing. So if someone has a real cool combat move, I could try to steal it. And then bump powers is going to be a buff for all of you. So it basically, I spend the focus and then I double the area and duration of powers within 5 spaces of me. So if I'm really close to you, I can just buff you, and any success you roll is a fantastic success.
Cool.
Wow, that's great. A lot of teamwork in here. Like swipe power,
That's
you
cool.
gotta make sure you know who's grabbing, be around there and grab.
She's used to commanding a whole host of brood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Sydney, let's come back to you and see what you're cooking here as we round these out.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting. Like Skid and I have some similarities, and like Matthew and I have some similarities, which I also like because I'm chalking it up to we're literally in school together. Like we're learning some of these same things to hone our powers. So the direction I'm going in with Kismet is she's extremely intelligent, so brilliance. Then same kind of thing as Matthew, the bump power. She has the ability to like boost others around her. The inspiration, same thing, she's inspiring. But then we get into like her manipulative sort of nature because she has these mental powers and she's basically a teenage girl. So Fool. The character uses a mirage to alter their appearance in the minds of anyone. So like on a camera, it would look like her. But to the person looking at her in person, she can change what she looks like. So I'm thinking like sneaky, subterfuge, this would be great. Not necessarily for battle, but that's a cool one. Then Intuition, another cool one. This is the Sixth Sense, which is the new power set out of the book. When faced with a decision, the character gets a feeling about what choice would be best, and I get to ask the narrator. And I think I have to roll, or it costs 5 focus, so maybe I don't. Basically I ask the narrator, and you give me sort of you lead me towards a direction with the 2 decisions I'm thinking. Then there's the precog. I went with precog, which I love because it's so heartbreaking. And precog 1 is like the weakest one, so you don't really have a far range into the future. Up to precog like 4, I think, and it's like you could see years and years into the future and it's super clear. But precog 1 is kind of like you sort of know what's going to happen to a particular person or a place or an item within my reach for the next 24 hours. So it's super minimal. And I just imagine her like always running around like crazy, like, I have to save them. And maybe she just can't a lot of the time. Then teleportation, she has to get out of there quick because she's really weak. So it's a reaction one. I figured it's good to have some reaction, some standard action on the battlefield. If she gets grabbed, or I think if she gets attacked, she gets to teleport, which is fun. Yeah, if someone's about to attack. Telepathic link you need for some of the other ones, which is the same that Skid has. And now I get into my damage dealing stuff, which is fun. Telepathic blast. I make a logic attack. And then, if I get a fantastic success, they take double damage, which is dope. Leech life. This one is magic, so it's a little different. But I wanted to use my ego because my ego is so strong. I make an ego attack against them, and if I succeed, they take health damage. So that's helpful. Mental punch, classic mental punch, and then I also took
classic mental punch.
Classic mental punch.
We've all been mentally.
I think we all know what that is.
No description necessary.
And then I also did copy power, Matthew, because
mental punch is interesting because it allows you to inflict focus damage during melee.
Oh yeah, which is huge if you've got a big, kind of spelly guy or whoever has a lot of focus points. That's true, Skid. Then copy power, which I like that Matthew and I both have it because maybe with
Maybe
my
we learned it at Xavier's.
maybe we learned it at Xavier's, but I was thinking rogue-esque, like maybe because of her mental abilities, she has this ability to like learn someone else's power and hone it just for a short amount of time. So if somebody tries to do like a new kind of mental thing to her, she just like and just shoots it right back at them, but only, for a little bit because it costs some focus points.
Very cool. All right, so she's coming to focus here for me, and you've really spread yourself out through you got some power control, some telepathy, sixth sense, magic, and some basics. So you're all over the board there. I like it. Joe, did you pick your final powers there?
No.
What's wrong, Joe? You can't figure.
Did your dog eat your homework?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of down to the end. I'm not sure what else to do. I mean, yeah, the character is fully support, and I'm also just like building it out with powers and stuff, and I had to kind of, so I don't really have a concept, but hey, I mean that's what you guys are for. You come up with something. So because like the story, like I don't really know what the story is, but I like the idea of an artificial mutant through military experimentation that comes out with this, this plasticity and healing powers. So let's go back to the sheet for a second. I'll tell you what I did do is I moved all of my scores around to fully give up on like any like plasticity melee fighting. Because it's just like I'm looking at the powers and I'm looking at like the basics I would need in order to make it effective, and I'm just like, you know what, honestly, if I'm gonna be spending time healing people, I'm not gonna have time in combat to be fighting anyway, and so I just put melee to 0, and that means in melee combat I'm gonna get hit, but that's why I have flexible bones, right? So like I should have some ability to take the damage. So I boosted up ego really high to 6. I think a lot of us have a high ego. And then vigilance to 5, which I like to just give, I think this is going to be a woman, give her a full, as much focus as I can. There's like a ton of focus points to mostly to share with people, because your focus becomes your pool of hit points, essentially, that you can give to the team. So I feel like you gotta max vigilance, and then so I did the ego check, because I had accuracy on there, and I got rid of that because I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And instead I went with, as I mentioned earlier, I went with a second surprising power, and basically did the 2 ranks that I couldn't do in healing, just to really pour everything into healing. Wow. So Cure All is one of them, and the other is Resurrect.
Whoa.
Oh. Holy crap.
And Resurrect is an ego check. And I love this. It's an ego check with a TN of 10 plus the hours the target has been dead, which is really cool.
Dang.
Wow.
And
Dude, I've got your concept for you.
okay, go.
You're like a Florence Nightingale. Maybe you were a field medic.
My first thought was field medic in the concept phase, but then
like she was in I think it was the Crimean War or something, but like, a field medic from World War I or something, and you were so good, the military wished you could be everywhere at once. So they put you through some experimentation to see if you could be everywhere at once, and it backfired and made you plastic, but also bumped up all of your healing powers and made you like.
That's great. I didn't think of not having her be like from the current time, so it was really locked up, because I was like, oh god, okay, so if she's born in like 2002, like what, you know what I mean, like what is she going to be with the
Captain
military?
America,
But yeah, if we could have her be like from a different time, of course we could do that. That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Like whatever serum they put in you also like stopped you from aging and gave you
and it backfired, and is like, and so she like, so that's why I also didn't want because you can have the military, you can add, if you want, the military trait obligation duty, like if you're inactive, and I was like, I don't want that, because I want this team to be able to do whatever they need to do. And so okay, this is thank you. This is coming into focus. And I still have, because I only did 2 sets, I've got 1 more power or 1 more point, and that's where I was like kind of indecisive. So
Nightingale.
I think I've kind of Nightingale. I think I've kind of done what I wanted to on on the plastic, or definitely on the healing end, and on the plastic. So yeah, I got to look at kind of basics and stuff. So or bump up something a point, maybe resilience.
Yeah, well, if you bump up, you could also bump up your vigilance and get more focus.
Yeah.
Or go back to, just go right back to basic powers and see, like, there's always something in there you could
Right.
use.
No, let's just do that because I don't really think I need anything more. Like, I don't think it's worth my bonus 12th thing to get a single basic power. Like, maybe the self-healing, but, like, that's Rob's thing on this. And
Yeah, if you can go 6/6, that's huge.
yeah, like to max focus and max ego, I think it would be really cool for a support character. Yeah, I like this.
What we don't have so far, do we have much agility?
I put 3 in agility just because of like the concept, right, of the character and the plasticity. I'm gonna have good agility defense, better than average.
We can't hit from range. Well, I guess Sydney can hit like with the mental punch and the telekinetic.
Yeah, I
blast.
dipped my agility because my other attack, like none of my attacks use agility. So
Honestly, I feel strongly that it's really great we made these characters, but we would have to bring someone else into this team to actually.
That's not true.
Like, I just don't know how we deal damage.
Stop power gaming.
No, I can fight. Like, I can fight melee with my Mighty 3 and everything. I don't have, like, a bunch of, like, powers in that tree.
Yeah.
But, like, I can just, like, run up.
And what is your melee?
Start punching.
Let's see Skid's sheet
3.
real quick and see, did you pick those
Okay,
last
great.
2 powers there, or did you put them into ability, Skid?
I did. I sort of reworked it a little bit. So I think I'm at 11. And then I put 1 more point into logic.
nice.
Oh, nice.
So after reworking it, so now I have Mighty 3, Sturdy 2, Telepathic Link, Memory Blip, Edit Memory, and then I have Understand Spoken Language and Understand Written Language. So like he can sort of translate the sort of psychic resonance of like the person, you know, either speaking or having like written something out like however long ago, and then just brawling. So that I can use my melee defense in place of my agility defense in combat. And then, so I can still, like, I don't have, like, clobber, I can't knock someone prone or anything, but I can go up and, like, cause pretty good damage. I have 3 times, plus 3 to my damage multiplier in melee.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's,
with the mighty.
gonna
You
be,
could, maybe
what,
there's a
times
super...
6?
Yeah.
Do you have anything left, or you're spent?
No, I'm done.
Okay, I was going to say maybe there's a super strength in there, but yeah, no, this is...
No, I do. I'm at Mighty 3, so.
Oh, Mighty 3, right, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And all right, so Rob, you're the last one. Let's see what you got left here for powers.
Yeah, I think I got 1 or 2 left to throw in, but I solved the problem about the weapon, and it's called time travel.
We figured it out.
I was going through everything. It was like I was in a law office trying to figure out, like, what's the best way to convict this person. It's like, do I do a teleportal? Well, the problem is if I'm more than 3,000 feet away, I can't get that sword. So, but I'll tell you what doesn't have distance: time.
That's right.
So,
So you just go back in time to when you had the
I
weapon
could go
and then you
back
bring it with you.
to the set, to my dressing room. I
Yeah.
had to have been there before.
It's in your trailer.
So just go to my trailer from 1992's Bronan the Schmarshmarian or whatever, and then grab it, and then come back. But it's also kind of sad because I'll go and I'll see like all the flowers and stuff that were left from me, and all like when I was
All the trappings of your
trappings of when I was
former
top of the
life.
world. It's all there. Like I could see my Lambo through the window. So I always come back with a little bit of melancholy when it's time to stab somebody with this sword.
I like that you took riposte, because clearly you have some stage combat training.
Oh yeah. There's probably gonna be a couple other melee weapon things I take. I had to take Wisecracker because Sydney told me about it, and why would I
Yes.
not
Yeah, that's
do
good.
that?
Oh,
You know,
and
the
then
funny
also-
thing is that you have to keep traveling back slightly earlier, because if you go back any later,
Oh,
you
that's-
will have taken the weapon already. So you have to go back a few seconds earlier each
I gotta
time.
remember a day where I had a really late call time.
Oh, but now it's gonna he's gonna have to return the weapon, because now it's gonna start off a chain reaction that he goes back and takes it before his former self comes back to took
Oh
it
yeah,
the
I
last
gotta get
time.
it back. I gotta. Well, I'll just go back to like the second later that I took it, and then I put it right back. And it's just
my
covered in
God.
some like green blood or something for whatever we were fighting.
The props master is like, what the?
What is happening? And then also I took disguise because I feel like as an actor,
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I was trying to justify it in my brain. It's like, well, that sounds like that's another mutant power. I can't have too many mutant powers. But maybe it's just like I'm using my luck to take whatever is around and make myself look like
Oh yeah.
It's like,
whatever I want it to look
no
like.
matter what makeup or like fake beard you apply, your luck would allow that to be enhanced. Like you're like, oh, I
Exactly.
really,
oh man, what I really
not to be
need is a bunch
recognized.
of used pre-chewed gum, and I'll find it and then
Yeah.
like build up my cheekbones.
No, there's always spirit glue. Like no matter where you are.
Yes.
Yeah. There's this great moment in, I think it's in X-Force in the Krakoan Age, where Domino's powers have been stolen and they're trying to find who's taken them, and they eventually are Sage, like the human computers, eventually they're able to track the appearances of four-leaf clovers around the globe. Because wherever
Oh,
Domino
that's
goes,
fun.
she just happens to find four-leaf clovers.
Oh my god.
It's such
really
a funny
fun.
moment. It's so
That
good.
sequence with her in Deadpool 2, where he's constantly like, "That's not a power. That's not a power," and then
Yeah.
you see it work, and that whole sequence is amazing.
Yep.
So we know we have two students and an out-of-work actor. Joe and Skid, what are your professions? What do you do for a job?
I don't know,
Are
man.
you unemployed?
I'm unemployed. I have business papers.
Wait, your job is you have business papers?
It's a
No wonder you're
This is a
unemployed.
weird interview.
I'm a business,
I've business.
I'm a businessman.
I asked you what you do for
business
work. I've business papers. No, do you think you have a day job?
I thought the profession was that's background. I thought
Yeah, profession is just like a little additional thing at the top of your sheet.
And you might get some cool traits from it or tags.
occupation.
No, this is just profession, just like.
I think they've
it's like
changed these
height,
sheets
weight,
since.
and yeah, it's more of a flavor question. I don't know if you were like, I'm a lawyer.
No, how about we fill that in later because it doesn't matter.
All right, what?
No, wait, no, you have a profession. You're a nurse.
Oh right.
Do you think you're still a practicing nurse?
Yeah, that's fine. Sure. Okay. In disguise.
A nurse
you could be a
practitioner?
nurse.
Or you can be an EMT. Or maybe you went back to school and got your nurse practitioner.
Yeah, maybe.
A nursing student. Skid, does your turtle guy have a job?
yeah. I think he's a
Taco Bell.
self-trained anthropologist.
A freelance self-trained anthropologist.
Like Barnes.
Yeah.
If you pay me, I'll tell you my observations over hundreds of years about people.
Yeah, he does his work like as like he does freelance work as a translator, and like he just has this apartment or something up in like Washington Heights, and he collects things. He collects like baubles from like human cultural history, which he's fascinated with, and
It makes
yeah,
sense
and he
that you're
wants-
like centuries old that you would know all these languages.
yeah, and then he's like he wants to be a hero.
Troy, I think Kismet, who is a student, but she's also, this is why her mental fortitude is so high, she is also a waitress.
I was going to
at-
say a bartender.
She's a waitress at a really slamming taco spot in LA. And it's like super popular, but also super gentrified. And like all these, white customers come in and they are the worst. And she is so mentally fortified against them that basically she uses her power at work. She just like shuts her brain down and she just takes people's orders.
Every time they're like, "Can I have some pico de gallo?"
Yes. Just a small eye twitch and that's it.
Let's round out calculate some other scores. These are derived scores. Your health is 30 times your resilience. So if you got a low resilience, anybody got a 1
I
resilience?
had to change my powers around because of that. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
This is a 1.
The first time I made a character last year, I had to give myself a one resilience, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I had a 3 agility and a 1 resilience. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah. That's when you start to realize.
I at least give myself another point, so I have 60.
You have 210 focus
Yeah,
points?
so your
Wow.
focus is 30 times your vigilance, and then if you took you get extra focus.
Battle ready. Plus
Yeah,
30
battle ready
focus.
gives you an
All right.
extra
Oh my
30.
gosh.
Yeah, so
Dag.
that's
So
what
yeah,
I was saying.
I got to stay out of the line of fire, and all that focus is for you. That's all for you guys.
Yeah.
It's all to be transferred to you.
Your damage is equal to your rank, but you may have certain traits that have boosted that up. So your damage is most likely going to be times 3 for everything.
I got that all wrong.
But if you have a certain trait, it could easily be. I think Sydney, you mentioned something. Your damage multiplier is higher, and there's also like situational bonuses that you get to your damage multiplier. But otherwise, it is melee, agility, ego, and logic multiplier is times 3, unless you have something that modifies it. Your initiative is equal to your vigilance. So if you have a 2 vigilance, your initiative is 2. But Joe, you have an edge on initiative, so you'll be a 2E. Oh no, excuse me, 6E.
Yeah, holy crap, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really good. You get to re-roll your worst die. So you pretty much always go early, and you've got an extra chance to roll a Marvel die, which would let you act in a bonus round.
Oh, that's great.
Your size is usually normal, but it sounds like Skid's character is, are you large or huge?
Large.
Large, okay. Your speed, if you're using a map, average speed is 5. You get an extra for every point of agility, and another extra point if you have the big trait, or -1 if you have the small trait. Your karma is equal to your rank, which is 3 in this case. You gain and lose karma throughout the game, and you get it all back when you rest at night. Karma's fun.
Karma is, Rob, if you didn't already know, you had mentioned this earlier, like you spend karma to like get focus back, like during.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
During
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you only have karma if you also have the heroic trait.
That is true, I believe. Yeah, which all of you should have. Although
Which we should all have.
Matthew,
like my character that I made for the other game deliberately did not have the heroic trait, so he didn't have any karma.
Huh.
I don't have the heroic trait.
that's
right.
So that's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be one of
look
my
into
6.
that.
I don't think mutants
Or
inherently.
tag. Heroic tag, not trait.
Oh, okay.
Oh, heroic tag. Oh, that's it.
Oh, can we just choose it then? Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can just
you
choose.
can-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but basically by default, like any character that you make will have it.
Okay.
All right, let me ask you this. Code names. We know, Sydney, you're playing Kismet.
Smooch.
Rob, and your real name is Cleo Jones.
Yes.
Okay. Rob, you're Rising Star, also known as Bobby Star, also known as Robert Starvansky. Changed it at Ellis Island to Bobby Star.
Bobby Starvansky.
Robert Starvansky is what his license says. Bobby
God,
Star.
amazing.
Matthew, what you're homebrewed,
Homebrewed.
and what's your real name?
Brewed Queen 6,732.
Amazing. And Joe, what did we go with?
I don't know real name yet, but I'm gonna go with codename Remedy.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, I thought of it as soon as, like, for whatever reason, as soon as you started saying that she was like from out of time. I don't know. It just felt kind of like old timey to me for some reason.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just looking up like old lady first and last names. How about Agatha Havemeyer?
Yeah, I was working through it.
Too close to Agatha Harkness.
So
Yeah, I actually
liked Alice for the first name, and I was trying to come up with a good, like, plain last name that still is like, has that great Marvel feel.
Something
Starvansky?
Ellis Abernathy.
Starvansky.
Band-Aid Johnson.
Grandma?
Band-Aid Johnson.
Maybe go
Band-Aid's
for
a
that
rubber.
alliteration. So it's
Alice Anderson.
Abernathy.
Or,
Alice
yeah.
Abernathy.
Alice Anderson's also good.
Skid, did you just say that? Is that why
I
was
just
in my
said
head?
out. Yeah.
Alice Abernathy. Thanks. And then Skid, what did we decide for real name and code name?
His real name is Zichi, and his code name is the Chelonian.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does he weigh 945 pounds?
And he's 9'6".
Yeah.
The Chelonian.
180 health. Holy moly.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Now, to finish out the show here, what is the name of your group, and how did this group of 5 people come together? Sydney, you've sort of you put us all in LA, so you're in LA.
I'd be there too.
But then there's some of you are at school in New York. Are you?
I could easily
pen pals?
be in LA.
Yeah, well, Sydney and I are in Xavier's, so we'd be
Yeah.
in Westchester.
All right, so maybe you're in a taco joint in Yorktown
Even
Heights.
worse, I'm in an East Coast taco joint.
Troy, don't you live down the street from Xavier School for the
I
kids?
do, yeah. I can drive over there right now.
Yeah, so how do we know each other? If Matthew and my character know each other from maybe the school, maybe
Mutant
we
circles.
all go to the school?
Is Joe the school nurse?
James the nurse at Xavier's.
Yeah.
Why not?
They
I
need
came in
one?
to be the. They decided to have like a fine arts program on the side, and I'm the acting teacher.
Yeah. I think, and
Amazing.
I'm teaching ancient cultures.
Oh, so you guys, we all know you because you're our
We're all at the
teacher.
school.
Yeah, I'm a nurse at the school. That's great.
I
I
love
thought of a
it.
last name, by the way, and I think I like to get last names that are like somewhat thematic. So I'm going to go with Alice Ward.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
That's so
Alice Ward.
good.
Alice Ward.
Oh, that's
AKA
amazing.
Remedy.
Oh,
That's
so
great.
good.
That's
All right,
really
I
good.
think
good.
Matthew, okay, so Kismet and Homebrewed, mayhaps we needed to do like an extracurricular activity for extra credit or something.
You're gonna have to do all the work.
And that's what
She's very
happened.
lazy.
That's what happened. We got
He's
paired
very
up.
lazy.
We got paired up, and we have to like interview teachers or like create a group with the teachers at the school and do something together. And then we end up getting entangled in each other's lives on a mission or something. Like it just so happens that something happens while we're out, and then we all have to work together. And maybe that's like our catalyst event.
Rob had a theoretical name for the team before we even started.
What was that? Rob?
What was it again?
What was that again, Rob?
What was that, Rob?
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Let's see.
Are we going with ecstasy or just something else now that we know
Ecstasy
these
is-
characters?
Express.
Express train.
Yeah.
Choo
I'm
choo.
trying to think of like what our common themes are. Should we think about our team maneuver as well?
Oh yeah, maybe that'll help us.
Yeah, well, if you go with the new ones, you have to lock yourself into a team. You've got X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, New Mutants, Marauders, Exiles, or Alpha Flight. But if you do your own thing, then yeah, you just pick a. You just need your catchphrase.
I mean,
I like the new teams.
aren't we just like X-Men?
You can just be X-Men, yeah. That's
Because we're
Yeah.
at the school. Like it's not like we'd
That's
make
not
a
fun,
splinter
Joe.
group.
Everyone, the X-Men are on a
I
mission.
didn't want to be at the school. Matthew's the one that wanted to be at the school.
You're the nurse.
You're the school nurse.
All
hate
the
this
other
job.
X teams are gone, and they need us to do
Should have
something.
seen me in the Crimean War. If you're X-Men, your maneuver is meant to be used during the Krakoan era, but it can be modified to work in any situation in which the characters have access to resurrection, which you
We
do.
do.
Which we do.
I have an idea for our catchphrase though.
Yeah.
Okay.
X gonna give it to you.
So clear.
Pow!
Well, there you have it. I think we can't just create these characters and not play. So who knows? Stay tuned. In the meantime, thank you for joining us today. This was so much fun. It always is one of my
Always.
favorite parts.
One of the
building
best
Marvel
games
characters.
we play. One of the most
I really
fun
want to
games
play
that
it now.
we
I've never played this. You guys are really teasing
it's
me.
so fun.
You
It's like a
have to.
dream. It feels like a comic book.
You have
Yeah.
to.
Go out and buy the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. Grab the X-Men expansion. Get into this game. We're not just saying it. We love it. And I know you're going to love it too. Have a great Gen Con, and we will see you real soon.